Give me a little intro there, Gomer.
There's no turning back now.
Let's put on the show.
You're listening to the Station 71 podcast. My name is Mario, and this week I'm joined by my co-hosts,
Beth,
Brian,
and Kirsten.
So, in some mildly exciting turn of events, we have some news to talk about this week. Looks like we're finally starting to hear about some openings. And the first one that we got was that Shanghai Disneyland will be reopening on May 11th in a phased opening. Looks like they're not going back to full operation, which we kind of presumed would be happening. And they're taking extra measures to ensure guest safety. We kind of previously touched on plans for that before, but the big thing that it looks like they're doing is they're marking out distancing, and they're obviously doing a lot more cleaning. So interesting that we're seeing things start to open.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys
still feel like
about
it's
this?
too soon.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not in China, so I don't know how it is over there, but I know for sure that it's not ready over here.
Yeah.
I have to interrupt and say that the day Disney Springs reopens, May 20th, is Cher's birthday.
We're not even there yet. She's gonna throw it out.
Oh, sorry.
It's fine. I don't know. I know Shanghai's a little bit further along than we are, so it's interesting, and I'm gonna watch this pretty closely just to kind of see if there's any insight to how, the domestic parks handle their reopening. I think that's really where we're gonna see some of this like important information come into play, like how the queue distancing works and how like the reduced capacity has any effect on them. Because I saw another thing that they were planning to I think it was that they were planning to operate at about 30% capacity, which at that point they apparently don't even really break even. So it's it's interesting to see, and I'm wondering what it's going to have. Like, I mean, obviously it'll make more money than they would if they were closed, but I'm interested to see how that plays out in the long run.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like maybe it's a kind of a testing ground for the rest of the parks. Although I will say that Disney itself does not isn't full ownership of Shanghai, so they're not the ones that get 100% of the say, which I feel like is a reason that our parks have definitely not had an opening date set yet, and probably won't anytime soon, because other companies are in play here and get more or less of a say. I'm not sure what the exact percentage of it is, but I do feel like they can use that as how the new entry procedures flow, and kind of use it for logistical purposes for when the other parks do eventually reopen.
Yeah, and I saw, I feel like that definitely has a lot to do with it, that Disney doesn't own it outright. But also in China, I feel like if things start to get bad again, they'll literally just shut the country down again. And there are no protests about I don't want to wear a mask in China. That doesn't happen. So I think it's a lot easier for them to do quarantine in a very strict way. But I also saw an article title, and I didn't read the article because I'm lazy, but it said Disney profits down 91%. So
I saw that too.
It's crazy. But I don't know. I feel like here, honestly, I feel like if they could get away with opening now, they would. But I think they'll be more cautious, because once they do open, I think it's going to be a way bigger deal to backtrack and say, never mind, we're closing again. I mean, even just from a logistical standpoint, that's got to be a whole lot of inconvenience.
Well, the biggest thing with Disney World, too, compared to Shanghai Disneyland, is that people are booking and planning trips so far in advance. I feel like Shanghai's getting a lot of daily visitors and stuff. Disney World's not like that. So when it opens, if they were to open and people start booking again and then they get shut down again and all that gets canceled, it's going to be the same thing when they did it the first time all over again. And it's going to be a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I think like we talked about before, they're going to open at a very short capacity. They're going to open with a small window to book, and it's going to end up being a more local crowd that's going to end up going, because I don't think people are going to want to travel as much.
Mm-hmm.
But sliding into our next news story here, Disney Springs is reopening on May 20th, but it is not opening in its entirety. It looks like what their plan is that they're going to reopen a lot of the third-party vendors that will open shop at Disney. So a lot of the stores, the like the restaurants and stuff that Disney doesn't own will be the ones to open, and then they're going to monitor that to see how it goes. So they're starting to see how that's going to work over in the domestic parks in a way.
Again, not outright owned by Disney, so there's other companies that get a say, which I think is interesting.
Well, and
most of Disney Springs is third party.
I have to wonder about the rental agreement, because I would assume Disney owns the property. And so if they're saying we're not going to allow you to reopen, then the companies are probably like, well, then we don't want to pay you rent. You know,
that was exactly what I was thinking. It's got to be something along those lines.
Yeah, because honestly, if anything, I would see them opening up their stores first, because they're seeing this huge cut in profits, and because they wrap merchandise in with parks and experiences, I would think that they would want to get some of that income back up as soon as possible. So I think you're right, Kirsten. I think it must be something like that, why they're allowing the third parties to open.
But the other option that I thought of too, not to cut you off again, I'm sorry, but it also could be a liability thing too, because if Disney brings their workers in and then something happens, like there's a lot more repercussion. Whereas like, you know, someone at the Rainforest Cafe gets sick, that's not Disney's problem.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, do y'all ever wonder how much money those stores make? Because some of them I get it, but some of the higher end stores, I'm like, I don't really go to Disney World to like buy a Kate Spade dress that's like $500. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get who's buying all the nice things that are there. I really don't.
But I also, and you probably have better experience with this than me, how many people go into a regular Kate Spade, like not at Disney Springs? But I'm saying, like, seriously, because I feel like some of the like rich people that go on vacation to Disney, you know, if they're shopping around Disney Springs, they might pop in there and just buy it just because they're on vacation and they just want to buy a new dress. So I don't know.
Yeah. I guess people are a lot more lenient with their money.
Like even the little store at the Grand Floridian, like the little clothing store over on the right side in the corner, like I go in there and I look at stuff and I'm like, who is buying this? I mean, not that it's crazy expensive, but it's pretty expensive. I mean, I've seen like $200 swimsuits in there. Like, I guess it's a Grand Floridian, but how much money can they really make?
I just kind of assumed those were people that went to Victoria and Albert's and didn't realize that they needed to buy fancy clothes.
That is a possibility.
What were you trying to say, Beth? I'm sorry.
My friend that works at Disney Springs at Rainforest Cafe, I called him when this news came out and asked him about if he had heard anything, trying to get some insight. And he said that he hadn't been told. Like he found out secondhand that Disney Springs was reopening May 20th. So it could be that Rainforest Cafe itself is not reopening, or they just haven't told them yet. But I asked him, would he be surprised if he found out publicly, like specifically Rainforest Cafe was opening and he hadn't been told by the actual administration or whatever management yet? And he's like, no, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Like, I don't know if that means it's super unorganized or if it's just they're flying by the seat of their pants, but he hasn't heard anything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I wonder if people who work at Disney in like custodial roles or anything have heard, because I mean, they're going to have stuff like that reopen as far as Disney.
That's true.
Well, so did you guys know there was an earnings call yesterday? I cannot talk.
Yes.
Did you listen to it?
I didn't listen in on it, but I saw some of the articles that came out about it.
So apparently one of the other things I should have put this in news, but I didn't think to, is that Disney's going to start relying on distancing using the Play Disney Parks app and virtual queues, which like virtual cruise.
Oh god, we're all screwed then if that's what
no.
we're relying on.
Well, we knew that virtual queues could work, like potentially. We've seen that kind of with the Rise boarding groups and whatnot. And I think that it'll work fine if they plan on doing something where it's manageable. However, I think the Play Disney Parks app is going to be the one that really suffers.
They're going to announce all this, but when it comes out, it's just going to be COVID-19 trivia on the app.
Oh my God.
It's horrible. Well, let's talk about our topic this week. Now that we've talked about the news for a little bit, we decided this week we're going to take a break from doing our, correction, we're going to give Brian a break from researching our Walt biography. And we're going to talk about some dining at Disney. We're going to do some dining around the parks, talk about maybe some of the best options, some of the worst options, some of our favorite foods, and more. So Kirsten had the idea to start with Disney Springs since they're going to be opening soon. And I think that's a good place to start. What about you guys?
Yeah.
So let's, I guess, obviously, best place to start would be best worst dining options, right? And along the way, we'll probably talk about food items. Sure. So does anybody have a favorite Disney Springs restaurant that they would like to throw out first that we can talk about?
I have two.
Oh.
Well, I don't know if one counts as a restaurant. Do y'all count Ghirardelli as a restaurant?
No, but feel free to talk about it.
They make, well, maybe not a restaurant, but they have food items, don't they? At least
Like,
milkshakes.
That is
Milkshakes are a food
literally
item.
my favorite milkshake. I'm not like a milkshake connoisseur. I love milkshakes. Ice cream is like my favorite dessert. My favorite milkshake in the whole entire universe. Like whenever we lived in South Carolina, we would drive after work and get there at like 11 on the weekends. And so I would run and get a milkshake before they closed at midnight. And then we would like go to our hotel.
Nice.
Like it's my favorite thing ever. That it's like I have to get one at some point during my trip every time.
I've actually never had one.
Really?
Oh,
Mm-mm.
so
But
They're
I do
very
walk
good.
into the Ghirardelli store to get a free piece of chocolate every time.
Mhm. That is for
I've
sure.
never done that.
What's
No?
wrong with
Really?
you?
What's
I feel
wrong?
like usually it's weird stuff that I don't want. I'm like a chocolate purist. And
Yeah.
so I think one time when we went, it was like pumpkin spice chocolate. And I was like, that's gross. I don't want this. Like my Will brought it out or my dad brought it out. I don't know.
It's
So what's
like-
your milkshake?
Chocolate.
Just straight up chocolate.
It's
There's nothing wrong with a
and
chocolate
you
milkshake.
possibly
There
get
is
it.
nothing wrong with the chocolate milkshake, but I feel like, I don't know, usually when people talk about like a crazy, amazing milkshake, it's like something like peanut butter,
just-
cocoa
Especially
swirl
coming
or
from
something.
a milkshake connoisseur.
Well, it's like so chocolatey. Like, you know, whenever you eat something that's like a chocolate dessert and you're like, oh, this is too rich.
No,
That's never happened to me.
me
Like,
either.
there's literally no amount of chocolate that is too much. And so they're just so rich. It's not like, oh, vanilla ice cream with some chocolate syrup. It's just basically like you're drinking chocolate syrup and whipped cream. Like, it's so good.
I mean, it sounds good. I'm sure I would like it. I am pretty much anything sweet, I'm fine with. I'll eat whatever, drink whatever.
I want to branch out because they do have other stuff that looks really good. Like the earthquake things look really amazing and they have super chocolatey ones of those. I just can't make myself like deviate.
Well, you could get like your one that you really, really love on one day and then try a different kind on a different day. So you still get the one that you love, or vice versa. You could try something new. And then if it's not as good, you always have your, favorite
Yeah,
one.
but I
to
also
fall
don't
back
love
on.
weighing 500 pounds. So
Well, that could be just your meal. Like make it your lunch.
really is.
Oh goodness. So what's your other one then? If you have two,
I think I've talked about this. It may have been a while though. Wolfgang Puck Express over by the
Yes.
Christmas store.
Hmm.
I've tried it whenever I worked there because it was on the quick service plan, and one of us had company and we had credits left over, which that was the best whenever you were in the college program. If one of your roommates or friends had their family visit, and then when they left, they had leftover dining credits. That was like jackpot.
Free food.
But the quick service, and I don't know if it's still on it. I should really check because it was like the most value you can possibly get. I'm pretty sure that the entrees now they're definitely in the 20s. Like whenever I went there in January, I think it was $23 what I get. And so if it's still on the quick service option, like it's an amazing value, but also it's just really good. Like everybody that I've taken there, which is pretty much everyone I've ever gone with, they all are like, wow, this is really good. And I'm like, yeah, I told you.
So 2 things. One, it is on the dining plan. And what do you get that's that expensive at Wolfgang Puck?
It's like, it's like their pasta carbonara or whatever. It's basically like kind of like fettuccine Alfredo, and I get no bacon and like no mushrooms or something. Pretty simple. It's just really good.
Is it like a walk-up window?
No, in the quick service restaurant. So you order, and now it's one of those weird things where like they give you a number and you sit down and then they bring you your food and they'll get you like more of your drink if you want it. And it's like, do I need to tip you? If I say I don't need to drink, like, should I still tip you? I don't.
It's like that weird hybrid sit down quick service thing.
Yeah, which that makes me, I don't know. I don't like those really, but the food is worth it.
Yeah. I will 100% back that. Wolfgang Puck is a great use of credits in Disney Springs.
I'm looking at the menu and they have bacon wrapped meatloaf, and that sounds disgusting.
All right. I mean,
they can't all be winners.
That sounds like something that should be at Art Smith's Homecoming.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Homecoming, can we talk about Homecoming? Because I know that's a favorite for Brian and I.
Yes, let's talk about Homecoming.
That was a good transition. This is probably my favorite in Disney Springs, I think.
Strongly agree.
I haven't really branched out because I've heard there's a couple other really good ones out here. But I tend to not spend a lot of time in Springs. This is like good fried chicken. You can't go wrong with pretty much anything at Homecoming. What is your choice of food here, Brian?
Oh, for sure, the fried chicken. And coming from somebody that grew up in Georgia, and fried chicken being a very staple part, and there being a lot of really good like fried chicken based restaurants, like real mom and pop style stuff. Like this is good. This is definitely up there in the top 2 or 3 of restaurants that I've been to for fried chicken. So love it, absolutely love it. Great size and everything too. I really like the of home style food, but kind of at a slightly upper class type restaurant like this, and this just does it really, really well.
Yeah, I think everything that we tried here was a winner. We had like so much food, and there was not one thing on there that I wouldn't have ordered again.
Mm-hmm.
And that dessert too. Those pieces of cake are something. They're like the size of your head.
Oh yeah, massive.
So good.
I've never been here. It looks like it's very meat centric.
Yes.
To me, it comes across as maybe if Lizard's Thicket was raised wealthy.
That went right over my head. I have no idea what that is.
I've never eaten at one of those, but I've seen them in when I lived in South Carolina.
Is that a South Carolina thing exclusively?
Yeah, I think so. I've never seen it anywhere else I've lived.
Or like Cracker Barrel, I guess.
That's a little bit more regional, or not regional centric.
Yes.
Lizard's Thicket is like a lower class Cracker Barrel, if you could believe it.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I didn't know it was such a regional thing. But yeah. I went to Lizard's Thicket exactly one time, and the literally only thing on the menu I could eat was a baked potato. So it's not one of my favorite places.
Homecoming's kind of on the same thing. You see stuff in here that you're like, oh, you could probably have that, and then it's like their house-made donuts, but then they also like put bacon on it, so they sneak it in there. Oh, it's so good.
It's so good, though.
That sounds disgusting.
Yeah, have you tried it though?
I will never. I don't eat pork, so.
Yeah, the last time we were there, I had the fried chicken and donuts, and that is a meal I will not forget.
Mm-mm.
I see, and I went in January and I did not love it. Like, I mean, I know that we talked about this and it's blasphemy, but I really prefer 50s primetime fried chicken.
No, I'm not gonna knock that because it's good too. I haven't been there in a while, but I do remember having very good fried chicken and other good home style type food. But
Yeah.
but you had the chicken at homecoming when you went?
Yeah. I just felt
Okay.
like it didn't have as much flavor. I don't know. Maybe I just didn't get maybe it was just an off night.
Maybe.
Maybe. But me being the dining plan person here, just throwing this out there, this is one table service credit, which is a very good use of your table service credit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most of the I've got the menu pulled up now, and like for lunch, even just lunch, like most of your plates are around the high 20s to low 30s. So
Yeah. And that's not to say it's not good food, because we've been ranting and raving about it. It's definitely worth the price.
oh, for sure.
Don't listen to Kirsten. She's wrong.
Wow.
I mean, I think it's totally worth going to, but also besides fried chicken, I'm not much of like a Southern food person. Like, I don't like deviled eggs. I don't like biscuits. And so that's like a lot of the appetizers we got, and I didn't eat any of it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
How do you not like deviled eggs?
Oh, I don't
Because
like deviled
it's-
eggs either.
What?
Yeah.
No, I hate egg. I hate the yolks.
Well, I
of it.
understand Mario, but Kirsten, you're Southern. You should like deviled eggs.
I don't like tea either.
What is
Tea?
wrong with you?
I have
Like
very
sweet tea?
sensitive and high class taste buds.
Oh, well, excuse me.
So you said you've never had anything that was too sweet, but you don't like sweet tea.
No, never had anything that was too chocolatey.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood that. Man, if I could pick one beverage to instantly make like healthy and calorie free, and I could drink as much of it as I wanted without any repercussions, it would 100% be sweet tea.
It's leaf juice.
Yep. And it's delicious.
Delicious leaf juice, yes.
You said you didn't have their dessert either, right, Kirsten?
Oh, I was saving my stomach for my dessert stomach for Ghirardelli that night.
That's where you went
Your
wrong.
dessert stomach.
Honestly, because I feel like if you weren't that impressed with the chicken there, you would have at least been very impressed with the desserts.
Probably so. Maybe
Especially
next
since
time.
they're like giant slices of cake. You probably would have been having.
I enjoy a good slice of cake.
All right. Any other Disney Springs mentions you guys want to talk about here?
I think if you like branching out, so I'm relatively picky if that's not clear already. Morimoto was really good. It wasn't quite what I expected. Like I think I got some version of fried rice which had peppers in it, which I've never seen before. But it was really good. And I normally don't eat beef, but my dad, we did order like, I don't know, 5 or 6 ounces of the actual Wagyu, whatever, how do you say it, beef, where they cook it tableside. Oh my God. It was like, if you like steak, I don't eat beef because I don't want to kill cows, but I miss beef. Like I think about it a lot, and I love
Specifically
steak.
cows?
Well, I don't eat pork or beef. I try to stick to only turkey and fish. I wish that I could go back to none of it, but it's harder with a toddler.
Yeah.
Separate meals.
I can imagine.
But yeah, I love steak and I don't eat it. But I ate it that night. Oh my God, it was the best. It was the best bite of steak that I've ever had in my entire life. Like I still think about it.
And it only costs $60.
Yeah, you buy it by the ounce. I don't remember how much it is per ounce, but I did not pay for dinner that night.
But that's a good thing, though, that you're still thinking about it, because that's what they want you to do.
Oh, yes.
I will also say, not going to knock it, but Splitsville is actually pretty good. I don't
Really?
think
My
I-
list just to do in general, not necessarily to eat there, but
so they do like obviously Splitsville is the bowling alley, but you can also dine there too. And when we went down on my 21st birthday, a couple friends and I had some time to kill, so we just decided to, go down to Disney Springs and do something. We ended up at Splitsville, and the food was actually pretty good. I mean, it was a lot better than what I thought it was going to be, which I guess isn't saying much.
I mean, it's a bowling alley. What can you do?
And it's all pizzas, which like Disney pizza's not super great.
Very hit or
But-
miss.
Yeah. And they have other things on their menu. I know they had sushi, but I don't remember anybody wanting to venture that far into it. I have heard it's pretty decent, but the pizza was pretty good too.
Would y'all like an expose into Disney pizza?
Oh no, sure, why not?
I mean, I can't tell you how many Disney pizzas I've made in my career at Disney. Many pizzas. They come in a giant cardboard box from the freezer section. Like I couldn't even figure out. I was curious about like what brand it was, just I don't know. And there's like no brand. It's like a giant cardboard box that literally says like pizza. And you just like get them out, stick them on that thing. Like they come at, what do they come? I think they are only cheese and pepperoni. You stick them on that big rolling rack and literally that's it. Like you don't add any toppings. You don't like nothing. It comes completely as it is. And like you can throw them like a Frisbee when they're frozen. It's not, it's one of the most processed, sad offerings at Disney World, in my opinion.
That's pretty much why I only get pizza when I eat pizza from Via Napoli. That's it.
Yeah.
Amen.
So, do we have any other Springs ones we want to talk about, or we want to jump to another part?
I don't feel like there's any. Well, I do want to just give a quick shout out to Jock Lindsay's just because it's super fun and great atmosphere. And they only have small plates really, but everything I've had there is really good. But
I've
you don't
actually
really
never
go
had food there.
I was about to say you don't really go there to eat, but if you do, it's good. They have these big pretzels that are really good that have like everything bagel topping, seasoning, whatever you want to call it on it. And trying to think of what else I've had there. I've had a couple of things, but it's mostly the environment that I really love about it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're a pretzel person, right? Aren't you the one who hates Disney pretzels?
Mickey pretzels are gross. I will
Mickey pretzels
say it
are
until the day I
gross.
die. I love pretzels. I don't want to brag, but I worked at Auntie Anne's for a summer in college. So I know about pretzels.
And we got a milkshake connoisseur and a pretzel connoisseur on this one.
But yeah, no, Mickey pretzels are gross. I had the pretzel in Germany, and I know we're getting a little bit ahead here. It was fine, but it was kind of like a slightly better giant Mickey pretzel that's not Mickey shaped as far as taste and quality and texture. Auntie Anne's pretzels, Wetzel's pretzels, and Jock Lindsay's pretzels. Those are the best.
Next thing we're gonna find out that Beth has a spreadsheet of the best pretzels.
I don't, but I could probably make one.
Oh boy.
Before we move on, though, your quick shout out reminded me. I did want to give a quick shout out to Sprinkles because where else can you find a cupcake ATM? And that's a beautiful
Yeah,
thing.
that's such a cool thing that I've never done. I mean,
It is the coolest thing. We've done
also,
it.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say we've done it like twice now, and the experience itself is pretty like mildly underwhelming. But the fact that you can walk away and say, "Hey, I got a cupcake out of an ATM," is pretty exciting.
It's kind of just like a window that you order it and a person puts it in the window and then you open the window, right?
No, it's actually fully automated.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it
'Cause
was
you
just a cute way of them having like a takeout window.
No, you can actually order the cupcakes at any point. So even if it's like super late at night, you can go and order it.
So like if I went to Springs at 3 a.m, I could get a cupcake.
Yeah, if Sprinkles is closed, you can get a cupcake at the ATM.
I'm gonna have to remember that next time.
Yeah, if they haven't sold out, that's the problem. Obviously they have to stock it, but
yeah.
We have one here in Dallas. And And it's right next to the actual Sprinkles. And so it always baffles me because I'll see people while Sprinkles is open getting one out of the ATM. And I'm like, why are you going to get an already packaged one that you don't know how old it is when you could literally walk in the store and get a fresh one?
It's kind of the experience. And I can only sympathize with that because we kind of did that too.
What?
They stock it fresh every day, probably, right?
I would hope.
Like, yeah, I mean, I guess maybe a day at most, but
Well, and I bet Disney sells out pretty fast. I bet those are way more likely to be fresh than the ones in Plano, Texas.
yeah. Before we move away from springs and dessert type of things, also do want to give a quick shout out to Erin McKenna's Bakery because it's all vegan. And I just think that's really cool. And everything I've had there is very good.
Nice.
I'll have to try it.
Yeah.
I want to try it. It's another one of the things that always loses to Ghirardelli.
They sell out like super early. Like it's very popular. So if you want something specific, your best bet is to get there early in the day. But I mean, they'll have something all day long. And like I said, everything is good. It's standard desserts made vegan pretty much, but I like it.
So my idea for moving on with parks is that I have the Disney website pulled up. The order they have their parks in is Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom. I think it would be best for us to go Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom, Magic Kingdom, Epcot. What do you guys think?
That's the order, I think.
Sure.
All right. So Hollywood Studios being our next park on the list of places to talk about. I think we're going to spend very little time here. So
Yes.
any quick shout outs before we move on?
I'm gonna make one, and the food is pretty good. It's not the best, but I really love the experience of sci-fi dine-in.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It's cute and kitschy.
I can't. Literally, will never eat there again. Like we were meeting some people and we were planning it beforehand, and she was like, "Do y'all want to eat at Sci-Fi or 50s?" And Will was like, "If they're going to Sci-Fi, I'm not meeting them. Sorry." Like,
Did he have a particularly bad experience?
yeah, I was with him. It was on our senior trip in high school.
Oh gosh.
God, you're old. Yeah, it's awful. It was so bad. Like he will not set
that
foot
was
anywhere near it.
The experience of the food was so bad that it ruined the whole thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like I'm not as opposed to it as he is, but he is like, I'm never eating there again in my entire life.
Was it just like undercooked, or it just was
I don't even remember
poorly
now. It's
made?
been so long. That was 13 years ago. God.
Wow.
That's quite
I
a
don't
grudge
even
to
remember.
hold.
I
Yeah.
remember I got a milkshake and it was terrible.
Really? I've heard good things about their milkshakes.
It was like vanilla. There was like no chocolate in it.
Huh.
And that's my main criteria.
Did you wait? So you ordered a vanilla milkshake?
No, I ordered a chocolate milkshake.
Okay, I was like, I didn't hear the first part. I was like, you ordered a vanilla milkshake, you got a vanilla milkshake, and you held it against it for not having chocolate.
No, I ordered a chocolate milkshake and it tasted like it was vanilla.
They just put a little bit of like brown food coloring in it to make you.
Yes, I swear that's what
Maybe
they
it
did.
was a psychology experiment.
No, it was bad. I will say I feel like there aren't good lunch options. And so if I can get there early enough, because I think they close pretty early, I really like Starring Rolls, their sandwiches. I feel like they're much underutilized. And then 50's prime time for the atmosphere and the good Southern food.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I do want to make note that we did say best and worst, and I think this is a good part to talk about the worst because they have arguably the worst dining experiences possible. Which, for a moment, I don't know if I've ever gone on this rant. I want to talk about how bad of a value the Fantasmic dining package is.
Isn't it like a box lunch?
No, so you get to actually go. There's 3 restaurants that are on the list. It's Hollywood Brown Derby, Hollywood and Vine, and Mama Melrose, which I don't particularly like any of the food at those to begin with. The package itself is, looking at the Disney website, it said $35 to $59.99, which is not great, and the seating is pretty awful in Fantasmic. So it does count as a table service credit for, I want to say, Hollywood and Vine and Mama Melrose. I think Hollywood Brown Derby is 2 credits, if I remember correctly. But just the overall value for what you get is not great. But I think the box part that you're talking about is they give you dessert for Fantasmic. It's like a little simpler thing. But yeah, I wanted to take a moment to talk about how much I do not like the Fantasmic dining package.
I don't understand why you would do that and not just get, if you really, really want good seating for Fantasmic, just get a fast pass and get there a little bit early.
I understand the logic though, because realistically, you don't burn a fast pass on Fantasmic. You're getting essentially a free fast pass for Fantasmic.
Whoa,
but honestly, you really don't even need a fast pass for Fantasmic if you get there early. Like, unless I know that there are purists out there looking at my best friend Joshua who refuse to see Fantasmic if they're not sitting in Sorcerer Mickey. But you can literally sit right beside Sorcerer Mickey if you get there early enough.
I think it's
my
same
thing
experience, pretty much.
The front of the seating is not the best seating because then you get wet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I like to sit further back because I can still see everything and I'm not like at SeaWorld.
I think I get it from the perspective of someone that doesn't really take a deep dive into it. You get dinner at Hollywood Studios, which that's not great to begin with, but you get a free fast pass for Fantasmic where you don't have to burn one of your 3 initial ones that you book, and it's guaranteed good seating without having to wait. So I kind of see the logic there, but there's just so many better ways to get better seats for Fantasmic than doing this, which is why I wanted to point this out.
$35 to $60, is it worth it?
No, well, so that's actually, if you look at the prices for the restaurants, it's comparable, but $35 to $60 is not worth it for any of those restaurants.
Mm.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed Mama Melrose. I've only been there once, but I liked it.
That's the one that's the most expensive out of them, though.
Well, I'm looking at touring plans, and it says that Mama Melrose for the the Fantasmic dining package is $38 for an adult. Hollywood and Vine is $40, and Hollywood Brown Derby is $59.
Okay, so I did have them backwards then.
But still, honestly, I'm not really interested in spending $40 on a meal, regardless, most of the time, unless it's something special.
Not at Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
When we did it the one time that we did it, and I'll never do it again, we did Hollywood and Vine, which is a buffet, and it's not great at all.
Isn't that the one where they have the Disney Junior characters?
They do during the day, but they don't have it for the dining package one.
Aw, you missed out on that, Mario.
I did. What did you say, Kirsten?
I said I've heard really bad things about that, but in general, I'm not a fan of buffets with characters because I feel like it's super kid-centric and it's really gross.
Yeah, and
not necessarily
to make it even worse.
You're in a buffet with a lot of dirty children who probably got food with their hands. Ew.
Oh, you want me to make it even worse for you, Kirsten? Sure. So that one in particular has a dessert buffet, which features a very large chocolate fountain.
Oh no. And they need to make the chocolate fountain really tall so that only adults can reach the top.
No, they need to just stop.
No. Hold on.
They need to just stop.
That doesn't matter if it's really tall and they can reach the top.
I guess it keeps recirculating. That's right. Gross.
Oh, also, okay. There are plenty of gross adults too.
Yes, there are. You're right.
But also we have to talk about Pizza Rizzo for a little bit.
Oh man, you know what? I've been there. The pizza is so-so, but what kills me is that we've all been worried about what's going to happen with Muppet Vision. And then when they announced that Pizza Rizzo was coming, it was this like bright shining light that says, look, no, they're going to keep going with the Muppets. There was going to be the animatronic rats delivering the pizza and everything. And it sounded so cool. And then with what we got, it was like, oh, no, this is for sure a placeholder.
So I haven't been inside of it, but I went there when it was Pizza Planet. Is it any different really?
A little bit.
Yeah, the theming's what I will say that's kind of cool is that if you look around, there's all these like very like kind of tongue-in-cheek Muppet jokes about a lot of stuff. And
it's kind of like Planet Hollywood was, but with Muppets.
Which
but
honestly,
toned down a little bit more.
Do that. You know how awesome that would be? Planet Hollywood with Muppets, like that be an actual restaurant, and you could actually put it in Hollywood Studios and it would kind of fit. I would be so for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't understand why they didn't keep Pizza Planet, which is perfectly themed with Toy Story, and just make it like the new upgraded Disney Quest and like have actually good stuff in there.
Well, so if I remember correctly, the Pizza Planet that was there wasn't even like Pizza Planet. It
wasn't really.
It was just like a couple arcade machines with pizza.
Yeah.
But also, I'm gonna say this, and you're all gonna laugh at me. It's on the opposite side of like Galaxy's Edge from Toy Story Land, and to me, that like it feels like they kind of placed things wrong that way. Where like if they had moved it over towards Andy's backyard, maybe it would have fit a little bit better. But then you also have Star Tours that is not in Galaxy's Edge. So
I was about to say they clearly don't care that much. So,
well, that's what I mean. Like I feel like part of me wants to say it is a placement thing, but then it's also not. But they also said they didn't want to put Pizza Planet near Andy's backyard because Pizza Planet's not in Andy's backyard. So I don't know. Who knows?
Okay, but they don't care about that transition to Galaxy's Edge. That's fine.
Or
they care about consistency, sure.
Well, here's my question about. No, I can't remember it. I thought of it the other day. Never mind. Something about Toy Story Land. I have to think.
You'll
about
remember it later.
Continue.
So are there any other honorable mentions? Oh wait, we didn't talk about the best dining option in Hollywood Studios, the ABC Commissary.
Oh,
I was waiting on that.
I think we've talked about that one enough. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Don't go here. It's not good.
And you know, the thing that gets me is that I don't hardly ever see any of the restaurants at Hollywood Studios very crowded. It doesn't need to exist. Like, I think they could literally just take ABC Commissary out and it would be perfectly fine.
Yeah, and that's a pretty big space. They could put something else in it, like another, I don't know, maybe some sort of interactive something or other, meet and greet or whatever.
They could put a bathroom there and I would be happier than having ABC Commissary there.
I said it the last time. It fit better when it was actual Hollywood Studios. Now it's just kind of there.
Yeah, definitely. When it was actually supposed to be. But again, we've talked about how there are two of these basically, and one is obviously better. There's the cafeteria where the crew eats. And, you know, this one is not necessary. I will say it's kind of cool to go in and see the props from the TV shows. That's pretty much the only reason I ever go in here. It's just look at the little props at the entrance real quick and then walk out.
Yeah.
But again, you know, they could bring back that whole prop section at the end of Backlot Tour, and then we don't need ABC Commissary at all.
Or just, you know, bring back the Backlot Tour.
Yeah.
So if that's all we've got in Hollywood Studios, we can move over to Animal Kingdom, which doesn't have great dining either, I don't think.
Well, I think it's got some honorable mentions for sure.
Brian hit that pitch before.
It has honorable mentions, but it doesn't have the lows that Hollywood Studios has.
Oh, it certainly doesn't have the lows.
Yeah.
So
has anyone had Tiffin's? Because I feel like that's the only real fine dining here.
I've heard really good things about Tiffin's, but I have not been there yet.
Yeah, same.
That
Nobody.
is like,
Mm-mm.
it's on my list.
Yeah. But you can get some of the stuff at Nomad Lounge. A couple of the like small plate items. Which everything I've had at Nomad Lounge is tasty. But as far as quick service goes, Satuli Canteen, y'all.
Ooh, yeah.
The best.
Absolutely.
Definitely as far as atmosphere. If they hadn't taken away my vegetable curry pods, I would be a lot more likely to go there often.
They got rid of those?
Yes, they still have the hamburger, cheeseburger, whatever ones that nobody likes, but they took away the one that I liked.
Oh, you know the kids are eating the hell out of them things, so
Yeah,
why
but
they keep those there?
yeah. But I had one of the bowls last time. They do, have a nice mix and match options for those bowls, and they're pretty good.
And I will say that they seem to try to keep the menu pretty fresh. There's a lot of different options anytime that I've been. So I think that while it is sad because some of the stuff that I've liked, they've taken away too, but it's cool to see that they're kind of, updating it pretty frequently.
Ooh, but that cheesecake though.
Who actually haven't had it.
It's so good. It's like blueberry mousse cheesecake or whatever. Yeah, it's cool. And like I said, I think the reason I like Satuli so much is mostly because of the atmosphere. I love going to a quick service restaurant and getting a real plate and real silverware. And that adds a lot for me. They always say to you first, you have to feed your eyes before you feed your stomach. I feel like it makes a big difference.
I agree with that.
A parable. It's deep.
I didn't make it up, just for the record. I did not come up with that phrase, but
I do really like Satuli Canteen. I think it's a good use of your food options here.
I would say it's probably not for adventurous eaters, though.
Yeah, that's why I'm so on it, I guess. Like, it's fine. I've gotten some good stuff. I think I got the vegetable pod things too. But I think it's better than really most of the other Animal Kingdom quick service. It's better than Pizza Fari with the same frisbee pizzas.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us how you really feel about those pizzas, Kirsten.
I mean, it's just like, it's so annoying to see like this giant box of like 10 pizzas totally pre-made, and then they charge like what is it when you order one of the big pizzas at a value resort,
like $25
yeah, and it
or
probably
something.
costs them like 50 cents. Like,
yeah,
it's ridiculous.
That's why last time me and Caleb ordered Papa John's and sat and ate it in the All-Star Movies food court instead of ordering that pizza from there. All right. So moving on from Satuli Canteen and Pizza Fari. I do like Restaurantosaurus, I'll say. All I've ever had there is the black bean burger, but it was very tasty and I would definitely eat it again. And
I have
Yak
not
and
been
Yeti.
there in so long. Yeah, I was gonna say Yak and Yeti is the Animal Kingdom shining point, I think, for me in terms of food, at least until I try Tiffin's.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about Yak and Yeti is they have the quick service and the table service options, both of which are very good.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting. Speaking of Yak and Yeti, that it's in the parks, but it's not Disney owned. It's Landry's.
I always forget that.
So, pro tip, if you sign up for the Landry's Select Club, Joshua is going to kill me if he hears me promoting this, because apparently it's like a really big deal when someone comes up and they're like, I'm a Landry's Select Club member. Because all you have to do is go online and pay like $25, and then you immediately get a $25 gift certificate. So it basically is like if you're going to go eat at a Landry's restaurant, it's free, and you don't have to make a reservation. You just walk up and say, hey, I'm a Landry Select Club member, and you show your card, and then you get like priority seating.
Wow.
Ooh,
And you get like a
wow.
$25 gift certificate for your birthday too, if I'm not mistaken.
Dang.
You can only use it on food though, not alcohol. I tried.
I mean, that's a pretty good tip.
But yeah, I think a lot of people shy away from it because you have to pay $25 up front, but you literally get it back instantly. So it's.
I mean, that's like 2 people eating yak and yeti. So,
Oh, yeah.
if not
Yeah,
more.
easily.
I do think that's a good thing to touch on too, is that the Yak and Yeti food is actually like pretty decently priced.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean-
I got like some vegetarian noodle plate or something, and it was like $14, but it was too much food. Like I couldn't eat it all. And to me, that's a good value, is when you get so much food that it's, too much.
Yeah.
I've never eaten there, honestly.
Yak and Yetis usually are like our go-to lunch spot, especially since, some of the other places do tend to get crowded and it's got good food. But the only problem that I ever have with the quick service option for Yak and Yeti is that they don't have enough tables ever.
No, they
so-
never do. That is so true.
So you have to kind of like fight for a table. So what we always end up doing is I'll go order, Andy will go find a seat, and then I'll come back around with the like 3 trays that they give you for 2 people.
Oh, you're talking about the takeout window.
I like the takeout window, but the inside is good too.
Okay, yeah. I was like, I was confused at first. I was like, I never had to walk around with food, but then I was like, oh, the takeout window.
Yeah, the quick service one it's a nightmare to get seating for.
Yeah, I feel like that could be said for a lot of like takeout places at Disney.
It's not as bad as this, I can assure you.
Bad as Casey's.
Oh well, Casey's is pretty.
Yeah, I don't think it's as bad as Casey's,
I
but
was about to say
Yeah.
Casey's is the worst I've experienced. But we're
Lord.
getting a little too ahead of ourselves here.
In January, it was just Will and I in Magic Kingdom that night, and we were hungry, so we decided to grab something at Casey's. And I'm like pretty introverted. I don't talk to strangers. I don't care for children besides my own. And so while I was waiting, this guy came up with his little girl, and he was like, is somebody using these chairs? And I was like, no, And so he's like, can I sit with you? And I was like, sure. It was so uncomfortable because Willis was still in the line, and we did what you do, Mario. I found a table, he ordered the food. I mean, it was fine. I was just like, this has never happened to me before. I don't know how to act. Am I supposed to talk to these people? Like, what do I say to him? This is so weird. Oh my God. The whole time.
Oh no, it's forced practice.
So, speaking of Casey's, should we jump to the next park?
I think so.
Sure.
Okay. So the next one that we have on this list is Magic Kingdom. Where do we want to begin with this?
Yeah, let's start with Casey's.
Casey's Slaw Dog. I think about it all the time. It is so good.
Corn dog nuggets. That's all I'm gonna say.
The corn dog nuggets are good. I either get that or the slaw dog too, usually when I go. So
I don't really eat hot dogs, but I used to love their fries. I swear they use different fries than everywhere else. But then I remember,
yeah, their fries are the best.
the time before my last visit, I came back and I was so upset, and I talked about it on the podcast because they were now using like the little shoestring fries. I don't like
I remember
those.
that.
But I am proud to say that in January, when we went, they're back to regular fries. And I was so happy because I feel like they definitely listened to this podcast. I didn't feel like I was important enough.
we did it, guys.
We saved
Did it.
Casey's.
Yeah.
I must have missed that period of time because I feel like the fries I've had at Casey's have been very consistent.
Oh, I very distinctly remember when they changed them.
I was so disappointed. I was like, what is this? Like,
That's
I want
why I
real
remember
fries.
it. So hot take here, probably not a hot take. Magic Kingdom really doesn't have good food.
No, there's
Not for
one
the
or
most
two
part.
good ones, and everything else is I don't even want to say bad, but it's just typical
Theme
like,
park food.
park food. Yeah, you
Yeah.
kind of get what you're getting, you know.
I will say though, Sleepy Hollow, that chicken and waffles, and
Not
the
Nutella.
I was gonna say, and the Nutella and waffles. You cannot go wrong with either of those.
Yeah, that is really tasty.
That is like, if I'm in the Magic Kingdom and I need like a breakfast thing, that's where I'm headed. Gonna grab my snack with my waffle from Sleepy Hollow.
It's interesting. I'm not a breakfast person. I feel like at the most I'm grabbing a granola bar out of my backpack.
Yeah, that's
Neither
me.
am I. But here's my tip for you guys. I've talked about the dining plan and how we always end up using that. With the dining plan, you get 2 snack credits per day, and you also get your table service and your sit down. We always use a snack credit for breakfast and grab like something like this, where that would be a snack credit. And use that because like neither of us are breakfast people, so you get something that like fuels you till lunchtime. You know
That waffle is a meal. That's not a
is.
snack.
It's a snack credit though.
Well, see, my thing is that the reason I don't like typically eat breakfast is because I'm not hungry yet. So I feel like that would not be beneficial to me because I wouldn't want to eat a huge waffle at 9 a.m. or whatever.
I'm talking like 10 o'clock breakfast.
Mario, I'm not even usually awake.
Oh,
at
that's
this point.
true. That's true.
That's another reason I'm probably not a breakfast person is because I don't wake up until lunchtime.
But that said, are there any do you guys have any other good sit down or good dining options here?
Absolutely.
Like guest.
Written out? No, I have to talk about that later.
I have to say, like I've said on here before, Skipper Canteen is so much fun and really good food. So highly recommend it again.
Totally agree. It's an experience.
It's like
it's the Trader Sam's of restaurants.
It's like getting to see the director's cut of Trader Sam's.
Yeah.
That's a good comparison. What did you say, Kirsten?
I said, I don't remember. I like Skipper Canteen. I was going to say Be Our Guest.
Oh,
I do like Be Our Guest. Partially for the atmosphere, because I'm basic.
I mean, it's cool. It's literally like stepping into the movie.
Oh my God, I know. This time in January, we literally got the best table in the house, like right next to the door where outside is the snow. It was perfect. But their chocolate cupcake is actually very amazing.
Did you do lunch or dinner?
Lunch. We usually do lunch.
Okay.
Because it's 2 credits now, isn't it?
For dinner,
yes, it is.
Yeah.
This is by far my biggest complaint with Magic Kingdom, obviously, as someone that does dining plan, having nothing but signature dining for table services, except for Skipper Canteen, which is like, I'll take that. But the fact that you don't really have options is what kills me. And I honestly, that aside, I was not a fan of their new dining menu for dinner. It was, I don't know, probably one of the lesser meals that we had.
It blows me away that their breakfast is $30. Because it's like prefix or whatever. But
if that blows
does not
you
sound
away,
like a good value to me.
Dinner is $62.
No, thanks. You can go to Ohana for that.
And you should.
And eat until you literally hate yourself like I did.
Yes.
I will say, though, the only good thing about the prefix menu for dinner is that you get all of their desserts, and their desserts were actually really good.
Ooh.
Now Kirsten's interested.
Yeah, you don't have to tell me twice. Well, yeah, because really their other offerings are just like the Plaza, that should just be a quick service. I really don't know why it's a table service because it should not be. And Tony's is just not good.
It's not. There's not much else to say about it other than it's just not good.
Well,
I've never been, but I refuse to go after hearing how badly it's been received by literally everyone in existence.
We went once just because we're like, well, I mean, maybe, it can't be that bad. Like, we'll try it. And it wasn't like the worst. It wasn't like sci-fi, but I was like, if I wanted this, I could go to Olive Garden.
I don't even think it's fair to put Olive Garden down like
I was about to say, I like Olive Garden.
What kills me is that Tony's has been consistently terrible for years, and they just don't do anything about it. And I could see if it was tucked away in some corner of the park that nobody saw. It's on Main
The first
Street.
thing that you the first restaurant you encounter.
I don't get it.
I think the biggest issue with Tony's is that, not even the biggest issue, the biggest plus for Tony's is that there's not really any food here that people can afford. Like, think about it now. Your two biggest restaurants are Cinderella's Royal Table, which is so expensive. And then you have Be Our Guest, which is now also so expensive. Your sit-down options are Skipper Canteen, which I'm sure their early menu scared a lot of people away from. And then
Granted,
Plaza and Tony's, which Plaza is tucked away so far that a lot of people probably don't realize it's there.
And it's tiny.
Oh,
It
it's
is
very
so
tiny.
small. And honestly, I sent y'all or we all saw the video when COVID-19 first kind of started being a thing in the US of that little girl in the window of the plaza.
Yes.
Licking it.
Please don't bring that
I'll
up.
never be the same, man. I can never go back there.
Oh, goodness.
What about Crystal Palace? I've never been there. I know you have, Mario.
We do Crystal Palace a lot, and I will say it's not great, but
It's such a pretty building.
It is, and we always do their character breakfast, which I know Kirsten just poo-pooed character meals.
Which is $41, excuse me?
Dining plan, it's 1 credit.
Well, that's a good value then.
So we always do that, and the reason we do that is because this is the only place that you can meet all of the Winnie the Pooh characters outside of parties. So we always end up doing it for that reason, mostly. Their breakfast is fine. It's breakfast. I've never done it for anything else because I believe after that they switch over to different characters. I know Mary Poppins was in here for a while, but I'm not sure.
I've done it once, and honestly, I'll say if you have the money, the whole reason we did it was I wanted to take our pregnancy announcement picture at Magic Kingdom, and I wanted there to not be people. So we got the very first reservation, the 8:00 a.m. or whatever reservation. So we could rush in and take pictures in front of the castle, an empty park, and then go eat. So
you should have done Keys to the Kingdom.
Well, that was way more expensive. And I think I
it's $30 more.
I don't know.
But
I think I've
still.
already done it at that point.
I'm just saying I would much rather spend $75 or whatever on Keys of the Kingdom than spend $41 on breakfast, and it includes lunch, just saying. Not that you can go back in time and take my advice.
Yeah.
If you wanted to.
Thanks a lot. Why couldn't you have told me that sooner?
Okay, I just looked it up and Keys is actually $99, so it is significantly more, but still I'd maintain my opinion. That's the only time I've ever gotten a picture in front of the castle during daylight hours that no one was behind me.
I do think it's good for that too, because you can get the early morning breakfast reservation and go down Main Street without anybody there. We also haven't talked about Cosmic Rays, but I don't think there's a lot to talk about there other than the stuff we have talked about.
Yeah, the food's not great, but that's not really why you go.
Yeah,
right.
It's okay, but eating it while watching Sunny Eclipse makes it decent.
Yep.
So now that we've talked for an hour about food, let's talk about the food park. So let's go to Epcot. Where do you guys
Electric Umbrella, everyone's favorite.
Rest in peace.
I'm just kidding.
Good riddance.
No, but where do you guys want to start in Epcot? There's literally, I feel like every type of food you could pretty much want here.
Well, what's notable in World Showcase, if anything? Or
Via
not
Napoli.
World Showcase. Sorry,
anything.
sorry. Future World, not World Showcase.
Oh, okay.
Sunshine Seasons.
I was gonna say there's Sunshine Seasons. That's good. You also have Coral Reef, but that's not great. I mean, you go there for the atmosphere too.
Mm-hmm. What about Garden Grill?
And Garden Grill's
I've
really
never
good
been
too.
there.
I haven't been either.
I haven't been there in a while, but their food is really good.
I've heard that it's good.
I want to know how so it rotates around Living with the Land, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does everybody, it's like only a few people get to see it rotating, or is it pretty good visibility regardless?
Well, everybody sits
how
on like
is
the
it set up?
outside of the circle, right? So
Yeah.
eventually you're
Okay.
going to come around to it. Yeah.
And it's
Cool.
a very small portion of Living with the Land. It's not like you're rotating through like a major scene. It's like behind the
Right.
house.
Yeah. But that's still a neat addition, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool. And the experience of the rotating restaurant is pretty neat. But the food was good from what I remember. It's been a really long time since I've eaten there. So anything else in Future World?
No.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I agree.
So World Showcase. All of the food is good.
Pretty much
End of
it. man. I
podcast.
mean,
End of podcast, yeah. No, but anything that like super stands out for you guys, I know there's probably at least like a favorite amongst one of us.
Via Napoli.
Of
Yes.
course.
Well,
But
all
why,
right.
Kirsten?
Well, one, because the pizza is delicious.
That's
why
not why
else?
Kirsten goes there.
The waiters are cute. I feel like this has been oversold. Like, I definitely think they're cute, but I'm not like salivating. I definitely feel like this
Oh,
is a
man.
good thing.
someone's changed up her tune from the first time we talked about it.
I just remember the first time we talked about this, Kirsten talked about the hot Italian waiters for
It's true.
We did a whole episode on that, didn't we?
I don't know if we had a whole episode, but
Yeah, that is a lie. That is fake news.
I will say Via Napoli is a really good place to go. I mean, I had a really bad experience there and I will still go back.
I will
Yeah.
say that the walk-up pizza window does not do it justice.
No.
It is if you don't have time to eat at Via Napoli and you're dying for pizza that's not, like Kirsten said, from a cardboard box of 10, then it's probably a good option. And I'm sure it varies based on the time of day. But when we had it, mine was okay, but Laz's was like not, it was like very, like you could tell it had been there for a little while. And that's unfortunate.
I also think maybe that's because nobody knows where it is, because I literally don't know where it is.
It's literally right beside the entrance, like to the
Really?
left.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I swear last time I was there, I'm like, I'm going to find this. And then I was like, I don't know where it is, but I guess I'm just stupid.
So where
Um,
else?
Well, Beer Garden is good. I like Beer Garden. I don't know if we've talked about that on here.
Yeah,
but
that's like you have to sit with strangers, right?
I
Yeah.
was
I'm
gonna
not about
say,
that
yeah.
life.
I was about to say Kirsten would like it.
So
No,
the
thank
food
you.
is really good. The entertainment is really good. I will say it is definitely not for people like
Introverts.
Kirsten, yes, who don't want to sit with a family. You can actually end up getting a whole table to yourself if you bring enough people, but that's very hard to fill. It's good food and it's a buffet, so that's really two things off of Kirsten's list that she will not do.
So how German is it? Like, is
Very.
it okay? Good. I was about to say,
Yeah.
why even bother going if it's just like partially German buffet and partially American?
No, it was.
No,
There
it's-
was. I mean, geez, there were probably like 20 different types of sausages and stuff. Like
Oh
it was.
wow!
Yeah. It's been a while. I haven't gone in. Geez, probably like 3 or 4 years, but man, last time we went, I remember it being extremely good. And like Mario said, the entertainment was a lot of fun too. You just get past the social aspect of it.
And it helps if you get you get a family that is willing to be social with you. Like for us, part of the problem that we had the last time we were there was that the family that we were sitting with, it was 2 other families and they did not want to be sitting with other people. So it just
that was
did
probably
not
my
help.
family.
Turns out you did meet Kirsten.
But the entertainment is really the big sell, I think. I think that's a lot of the reason that you go here. And it's fun, you know, especially if you have kids, because they do all the singing and the dancing and whatnot. So.
Well, and I'll also say that if you're the kind of person that might be more introverted, that doesn't want to talk to people, like the entertainment that's going on makes it where you don't have to sit there and like have full-on conversations with the people, and you're not just staring at someone. Like most of the time, people are going to be watching the show that goes on.
Yeah. So let's see what else is on here that we can talk about for food. I feel like Via Napoli is like my go-to for sit down and.
The bakery in France.
Oh yeah,
that's my go-to. We pretty much always like eat there and also take a baguette with us to eat throughout the day.
If we're in Epcot and we're using our snack credit, that's where we'll go, because most things on there are a snack credit, and that is the part of World Showcase that opens before everything else. So
true. Well, Regal Eagle just opened, but I don't think any of us had a chance to get there, right?
No, because it opened right
That's
before all this happened.
That's going to be a whole podcast about the intricacies of the barbecue.
That's going to be after somebody goes there. We're going to have to spend a whole episode talking about that.
Whoever goes first has a responsibility to try every kind.
Well, it can't be me then.
All right, guys, I'll do it for the team.
Brian, you're so selfless. Thank you.
I've also heard that Tutto Gusto is pretty good. Haven't been there yet, though.
I've been to Le Cellier once. It was many years ago, but I remember it being very good. What I remember most is how amazing and nice the waiter was, which now that I'm older and like nice Canadians are such a Reddit like trope, I think it's really funny. But that's what I remember more than anything was the waiter and how nice he was.
Well, good. They live up to their hype.
They do. So, Mexico, I think, is the worst table service ever, but nobody else seems to share that opinion.
Table service, right?
Yeah.
Okay, the table service, I kind of agree. It's pretty bad.
I agree with that.
I think La Hacienda is a lot better than San Angel, so I don't know. I think that there's 2 food options there, and your clear choice should be to take the quick service.
I just feel like Mexican food in general is not a great choice for walking around a hot park all day.
No, I agree with that, but
like maybe if you're going specifically, like if you get there at night and you're just casually walking and you want to eat something that you don't mind sitting really heavy in your stomach, but that being like, I can't imagine eating, not just I've never eaten it in either of the table service restaurants in Mexico at Epcot, but the idea of eating Mexican in general and then walking around Epcot for 6 hours makes me nauseous.
But drinking your way around Epcot does not.
Well, that's different because it alters your state of mind.
So let me ask you guys, if you had one option to eat at Epcot, like you had to pick one place to eat at Epcot, price not an option, and it couldn't be Via Napoli, where would you choose?
Le Cellier.
I've heard enough good things about Le Cellier that I think I would probably go there too.
I've never been.
Options would be.
I really want to go to Spice Road Table, and I've never been. I've heard very good things about it.
That's a good pick. I've never eaten there either, but I I know that Moroccan food usually has pretty decent vegetarian options.
I've heard that it's good from a lot of people, but I've never been there. I probably wouldn't like it. I'm probably too picky for it.
I will say the only other place that I'm significantly disappointed in the food, out of all of the places, is the Japan Pavilion. I was not a fan of the food offerings there.
Really?
I mean, teppanyaki is just a hibachi, which you can get like anywhere. In Tokyo
Yeah, but
Dining,
hibachi is delicious.
Yeah,
but-
and you get to watch fireworks.
but here's the thing though, like if I can get it anywhere, what's the point of getting it at Disney?
I guess that's a good point.
I mean, if you really like hibachi, like if you're a big hibachi person, it's the same hibachi you're getting like anywhere else, so it's fine. But Tokyo Dining was okay. I just don't feel like it was as standout as some of these other food offerings. I will say now that they've added a fourth restaurant in there, I think there's
3, I think.
yeah,
Like 3 table service and a quick service.
right. So now that they've added that in there, maybe that'll change, but that's a signature dining that I will not be going to anytime soon.
Yeah. Also, want to try the other Moroccan place. What's it called?
Tangerine
Cafe.
No, the one with the belly dancer.
I do not know.
This is news to me.
Brian's
I'm
taking
not crazy, right? It's like it is kind of hidden away. Like you wouldn't really pass it.
Huh? No, Beth is not crazy.
Thank you.
Oh, Restaurant Marrakesh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That's where I would go.
I was
I wanna
not
try
aware
that.
that there was a belly dancer in
I
Restaurant
was not either.
Marrakesh.
Apparently, you have to pay an entertainment fee. So that's why when you said no price, I was like, oh, well, then I can experience that without having to pay for it.
Well, any other food options you guys want to talk about in Epcot before we wrap this week's show up?
Are there any general, like I wrote down my favorite like snack to get. Whenever I worked there, I can't tell you how many of these I would eat while watching Wishes. The from the actual bakery, not one of the pre-wrapped ones, because I don't know why you do that. That's the same as the cupcake ATM. From like the confectionery, the Mickey Head Rice Krispie treat with M&Ms on it, the mini M&Ms. Oh my gosh, it's the best thing ever. It's my favorite like fireworks watching snack.
Those
Do y'all
are
have
good.
anything that's like that, like that's available at all parks?
At all
Dole
parks? No.
Dole Whip for me, but specifically if I could pick, I would choose the Dole Whip and vanilla swirl. But I don't think that's available at all parks. I think it's just the regular Dole Whip.
I'll say, you know what they should really add? Because I love pineapple. But what's even better than regular pineapple is chocolate covered pineapple. And you can get like a giant pineapple spear as a snack, and it's so good. But they should really add chocolate covered pineapple, and I would buy the heck out of that.
Interesting. I am not a pineapple person, but
Oh,
I do really like Dole
pineapple.
Whips.
Then you're a pineapple person. Sorry.
I am not. No.
yeah, that's weird because I hate Dole Whip, but I love pineapple.
I want to try the raspberry swirl that they have now, but you can't order it from the app, and I refuse to stand in that line.
You know what else was really good that I had in Magic Kingdom specifically? That Peter Pan float that they had at Storybook Treats. That was really good.
I
It
had
was-
the Maleficent one. I don't know if it was the same with just a different chocolate topping.
This one was key lime soft serve with
Yeah.
Sprite. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
It was really good.
It was really good.
Oh, do you know what one of my favorite snacks? This is very specific, but I don't think that I've seen it again since this one time I went to Not So Scary, and they had candy corn soft serve.
Yes, that is a not so scary thing, and it's so good.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I have thought about that a lot of times and wish that I could have it. It doesn't really, in my opinion, taste like candy corn that much, but it's delicious.
I'm not a candy corn person either, but I really liked that soft
So
serve.
I'm very much a candy corn person.
Oh, gross.
Candy corn is, yeah.
Y'all are those
corn was
people.
good, they would have it year round, and they don't. That should tell you everything you need to
Wow.
know about it.
Actually, they have it at most holidays. It's just rebranded as not Halloween colors. They have like Easter candy corn and stuff now.
Ew.
What?
That's
Yeah.
disgusting.
That I'm not into, but regular candy corn and those like candy corn pumpkins, the like big chunky pumpkins.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Ew.
No.
Oh man, they're so good. I love honey, so maybe that's why.
Nope.
Is that what the flavoring's supposed to be in there?
Good candy corn is made with a lot of honey, typically.
I had no
Oh,
idea.
we got a candy corn connoisseur over here now.
I really did not know that. I just thought it was like sugar.
I mean, I'm
I
sure
guess
it's
honey kind of
mostly
is
sugar,
but-
but it definitely, like, if it's good candy corn, it has honey in it, and you
Wasn't
can taste
honey
the
mostly
honey.
sugar anyways?
Well, yeah, but it's a different kind. It's not like regular white sugar or whatever.
So the only other snack that I really like are the giant cinnamon rolls at Gaston's Tavern. Those
Mm,
are so good.
yeah.
There
Well,
used to be a
speaking of
snack
Gaston's-
place. Go ahead.
Oh, I really love LeFou's brew.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. LeFou's brew is really good. It's not as good as butterbeer, but it's a good alternative, in my opinion. Maybe you guys differ.
I'll have
No.
to try it. I've never had the butterbeer.
Oh,
I
it's
kind of
so
agree.
good.
I kind of agree. It is a little bit lesser than butterbeer, but
It's still really good.
it's
Don't
really
get me
good,
wrong.
yeah.
But did I tell you guys about my butterbeer experience last time
maybe.
with the shot of Fireball?
Ooh, you lost me.
No, okay. Well, that part, it's like, I'm going to tell it and you can stop me if you want to, if I've already told it. But when I went back in October, we went to Halloween Horror Nights, and early on in the night, Diagon Alley was still open, and I hadn't been in several years. I was like, oh, let's go ride, Gringotts and get a butterbeer before we go to the haunted houses. And so I walked up and I was like, can I get a butterbeer and 2 shots of fire whiskey is what they call it, but it's just Fireball. And I was not taking both shots, just for the record. One was for Laz. And they're like, yeah, you can get those, but you have to stand here and let us watch you take the shots.
Oh yeah,
What?
they're very specific about that. I've heard.
Yeah. And I was like, are you serious? And they're like, yeah, there's a rule about I can't remember the phrase that they use, but keeping the butterbeer pure, basically. There's like some weird thing that they're trained on to not let people, because they're worried that people are going to walk away and pour the shot into the butterbeer and change the flavor of it and give them like a experience that's not what is meant to be had with the butterbeer.
That is the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
I haven't
And-
heard that, but
Yeah,
I've
no,
heard
that's
they're
what
very
they-
specific.
That's what they told me. And I was like, this is bizarre. Like, who cares if I walk away and pour the shot of Fireball into the butterbeer? And they're like, well, sorry, you have to stand here and take it in front of us. And I was like very annoyed by this. So they gave us the shots and the butterbeer, and then they like started talking to each other and weren't looking at me. I was like, hey, we're about to take the shots. You guys look at us, please. I like made them look at me. I was like, you took the time to explain this weird rule to me. Look at me while I take the shot. So
That would
anyway,
really just make me want to put the Fireball in the
know.
butterbeer even more.
I had
what would
no
they-
intention of or desire to do that until they suggested that was what I was going to do with it.
What would they do if you just dumped it in and ran away? Like, it's not like
What,
they're
they're
going to
just
chase
gonna
you down.
tackle me and not let me drink it. But
I
Yeah.
will say about Universal. So whenever whenever I was working at Disney World, which was like, as we can all tell, an eon ago, they had their chocolate cauldrons. It was like a little cake, like brownie-ish thing that was baked in the shape of a little cauldron. And it had even the little top, like the handle, and it was filled with chocolate mousse, and it had like chocolate shavings on top of it or something. And it was so good. And I haven't been back since then. And so when we went in January, I was like, man, I'm about to F up some chocolate cauldron. Like, I'm so excited. And then I was like looking, and it basically in the bakery, you could buy them pre-made, which as we determined, I have an issue with that. Or it was just like a giant cupcake looking thing with a bunch of regular, like sugary icing in a plastic thing in the shape of a cauldron. I was like, I don't want this. And so I asked, I'm like, do y'all have like what you used to have? And they were like, no, this one, they changed it so that it comes with the cauldron, and you can bake your own things in the cauldron, because they just wanted people to have the joy and be able to experience it at home. And I was like, what? Like, you could have just said no. I mean, let's get real. I don't know. It really annoyed me. The end.
That sounds really annoying.
It was just weird. It was just strange.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway. Any other Disney snacks?
Right. We could have a post show about Universal.
Yeah.
And that's going to do it for us this week. Thanks for joining us again on another episode of the Station 71 podcast. If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast from. If you want to read our show notes or find links to all of our social media, that can be found online at www.station71podcast.com. If you have anything you want to hear us talk about or any ideas for future episodes, be sure to email them to station71podcast@gmail.com. We hope you enjoyed your ride, and we'll see you real soon.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.